have royal feuds like this have been solved in the past? Historian Sir Anthony Selden joins me now. Good afternoon, Sir Anthony.
Hello, Kathy. I'm not certain, that they really have ever been solved. It's pretty hard to solve a dispute.
Oh, well, you're the historian, so take me through sort of royal rifts as dramatic as this one. I'm sure there have been many, perhaps more dramatic. Tell us what you think.
Kathy, we'd need a whole weekend to go through royal rifts going back to William I, but we won't do that. So just on more recent times, the abdication, and Edward VIII went off to France and was kept more or less quiet, a very unsavoury character, or Margaret, the late Queen's sister, who was in love with Peter Townsend, and wasn't allowed to marry him, and he then went off, and she went off, and bore an understandably sadness and anger that she wasn't allowed to be with the person that she loved. Diana married to Charles, an agreement over a divorce. Not very happy, but at least until the Martin Bashir interview, it was seen for a while to have resolved it, and then of course that all exploded. I don't think, Kathy, that there is any happy way forward here apart from a new relationship and agreement between them, in which William shows himself to be the older brother and the grown up in this.
Oh, right. So you think that William should sort of reach out to him, because a lot of the commentary is focused on, Harry should, initiate things, a lot of anger actually directed at Harry and all the revelations. But you think William should be the bigger man in this?
That anger notwithstanding, an incredibly hurt and damaged book and series of responses from Harry that seem terribly tone deaf to the position of this country going through so many deep problems. Utterly terrible timing, and I think a very sad and hurt and damaged text and series of revelations. All that, Kathy, notwithstanding, that I think it is incumbent on, indeed, on William as the older brother to come forward and build the bridges, because otherwise, what's going to happen? I mean, there are only two ways that this can go forward now. The war carries on with more and more, in as far as there's any public appetite left after this, allegations and turbulence, or there is going to be some kind of rapprochement. And it could be that this book and the Netflix and the interview on Sunday will be the very opportunity to take Harry at his word that he wants to rebuild his relationship with his father and with his brother. And he's clearly and understandably a very damaged young man, and he can still do with Meghan, I think, enormous good for the causes that he believes in, including mental health and reaching out and having a much more inclusive country, a much more modern Britain in the rest of the world. So, Kathy, I think either you carry on at war, or you build bridges and find something that actually works to hold the brothers together, because I think they both yearn for it deep down.
But are there constitutional implications and concerns about some of these revelations? For example, about Prince William's fitness to be king?
Frankly, I'm sure listeners will come in and say that there are lots. To me, many brothers fight physically or verbally. I wouldn't. Well, maybe many more verbally than physically. I mean, obviously that's very, very regrettable that happened and that he talked about it. But I think people must make their own judgments. To me, it speaks of somebody deeply, William, if indeed the allegation is true, a deeply troubled and vexed person at the end of his tether.
And just finally, I mean, you talked about some more recent examples of royal rifts, but just looking further back, none of those that you cited were as sort of violent and dramatic as this. But looking further back in history, there would be plenty of examples.
Well, I mean, there are no executions and stabbings and murders and plots on that scale. No, it was pretty violent, the way that brothers and parents treated their children and family members. So, but of course, Kathy, I'm not seeking to underplay the significance of it. I'm merely saying that I think the public appetite will be turned off. Harry has already won many hearts and minds in the United States. They can carry on with what I think is an undignified war, or they can find common cause as brothers in something that they believe in. They believe in many things together, including mental health and including having Britain as a more inclusive country in the world. They can be a formidable force if they, and indeed their wives, can find that rather than carrying on in this way. So I think that's the lesson from the royals of the past, that this rapid Cook's tour through 900 years of history is that that George Orr is better than War.